You're watching TVC Breakfast. Now, the police in Katsina State have assured residents that investigations are ongoing and further updates will be provided in a tragic incident that occurred in Maidabino. ASP Abubakar Sadiq Aliyu, who confirmed the incident, said that 7 persons were killed in the attack. This latest attack is part of a disturbing resurgence of banditry in Katsina, particularly in the front line local government areas such as Kankara and Danmusa. Let's talk this through by speaking with a security expert who is joining us via Zoom in Abuja, Dixon Osaje. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast, Dixon.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Well, quite, grim pictures, we got recently from places like Kankara, Danmusa, because Katsina in recent days had witnessed a resurgence of, deadly bandit attack, terrorism, etc. What's your analysis, or how do you view, this recent development, and what does it say about the current security situation in that region?
Oh, thank you very much. Great question. I think it's not saying something well. It's not saying well about Katsina and the northwest and other parts of the country. And I can tell you that the territorial integrity of Nigeria is being threatened because if we have these guys carrying out such acts and kidnapping here and there, killing Nigerians here and there, and also capitalizing on the vulnerable state of our security architecture. That tells you that we need to do more in the area of crime prevention and also in the area of taking out of these guys from the Nigerian territorial space. It's not good. This is a state of the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who swore an allegiance to protect the Nigerian people. Here we have these people being messed up by this unnecessary human being. But I think if we want to get it right, we need to go back to the drawing board and assess what went wrong. And that in this present time and age, where we have equipment to take out these guys, they are still playing around within our territory. It's not a good one. It's not a good one for the former president himself, and it's not a good one for our northern leaders. This is the right time. The northern leaders need to come together and to talk about what the problem is. The military are putting on their best. The police are doing their best. Our security agents are doing their best, but I think one of the major causative factors to this incident is the absence of political will. We've been talking about political will for so long. So what do we mean by political will? We need to because let me tell you, for someone to get an AK-47, it's not an easy task. It's very expensive to have an AK-47, but we have a group of people, 10, 20, 100 of criminal elements marching the territorial space of Nigeria with assault rifles and weapons. That tells you they are getting sponsorship from somewhere. Where are they getting the sponsorship from? I leave that to the security agents to unravel.
And in addition to your point about the fact that there's a lack of political will, we had the governor of Zamfara State say much earlier that this situation can be addressed in 2 weeks if there is a political will and intention to eradicate it immediately. So when you also mentioned the sorry state of security infrastructure, what exactly is the problem? Is it a lack of arms or a lack of, will to address this situation from persons who are probably gaining from this crisis?
Fantastic question. You see, I've watched the operational methodology of this criminal element, and sometimes we need to start looking at terrorism, operational planning, their attack methodology, employment methodology. And I will tell you for free that one of the major objectives of this terrorist group and their planning methodology is to surprise and deception. That is what they've been doing to our Nigerian people, because I will tell you, there's nowhere in the world you can tell the time, day, where, and when a terrorist is going to strike. What they do is that they try to activate surprise attack against the Nigerian people. And before you respond, there's going to be a problem. Then, if you think these guys have been carrying out this action by surprise, that is when you need to have a responsive mechanism in place, have some specially trained security agents who can respond with speed and momentum within 5 minutes when a crime is being orchestrated by this criminal element, or within 10 minutes. And also have an effective force protection. I was watching an operation by the Israelites some few days ago, and I saw how their force protection mechanism took out most of these criminal elements that wanted to take out rescue mission soldiers. So I think we have a lot to do within our territory, because Nigeria has been messed up and brutalized for so long. I'm not going to hold this administration responsible. It has been coming down. It has been happening for a very long time. And what can the military do? They have done all they can. You ask, what do they want? For me, the budgetary one, first of all, should be improved. Secondly, the officers and men we need to increase the manpower of the Nigerian military and also other security agents. Then we'll have that. Then we'll start looking at surveillance equipment. We've seen this. I've said this many times in your forum, and it baffles me if the leaders of this region are not listening as to security advisory, because we can't continue to have these people march within Nigerian territorial space. They don't disappear. They move around within the territory. Now, when people move around within the territory, in their numbers, it's a cheap operational attack from. It's going to be a cheap way for our military or our security agents to wipe them out in their numbers. But is it that we don't have equipment that can pick them from this location? We have equipment that can do that. Very, very easy to do. There are many equipment, airborne equipment, that you can suspend in the sky that can monitor the territorial space of that given environment. And when these guys are moving, you lay ambush on them and wipe them out like chickens. But it's so sad that they carry out their attacks swift with momentum and then go back to your government space, take their shelter. I would advise that the Nigerian military and the police should meet in a drawing board and also have an effective synergy and also information sharing. Because this time around, we need to start looking at community engagement, societal engagement, and national engagement against these people, because Nigerian lives truly matters. If we don't take them out, then we're telling the world that Nigerian lives don't matter.
Dixon, I sense the frustration having to, repeat this over and over, and it seems that there is no, headway in this. But when you mention the fact that this bandits use the surprise methodology, we've had situations where some of these bandits have already promised a reprisal attack to these communities, and it was still not contained. We also had state governors try to, set up their own security outfit, to contain the situation, although they were not allowed by the law to carry arms. About 2 weeks ago, we had about 60 vigilantes attacked in Zamfara, 60 vigilantes killed. Where should we go from here? Because we're passing the blame to some unknown persons, passing the blame to the federal government, and it seems like every week we'll be back here talking about this. We had a recent attack also in Katsina where 40 persons were also killed.
Disturbing, very, very disturbing. I want to tell you something. The victims of crime, in terrorism management, victims of crime is the government. With the day the government begins to understand that the victims of crime, they are the victims of crime, I tell you, they will understand that these guys really meant to, disgrace them globally. Because one of the objectives of terrorism is to shame the sitting government, is to coerce the government, is to subject the government to accept what they're pushing for. If you ask me, what are these guys pushing for? I will tell you that they're just pushing for stupidity. They are pushing for evil. They are pushing for their own selfish, demonic orchestration. Because Nigerian lives, we can't just see our people being killed every day in numbers. Let me tell you, I'm getting used to the killings in Nigerians, and I don't know why. Maybe because of the everyday sad news. When I heard about this news, I just dropped my phone and walked away. In the early days when we get this news, oh, Jesus, what is happening now? But now it's becoming a norm. It's just looking like normal, which is not supposed to be. Let me tell you, these guys, they pushed Nigerians, the government to the wall. They've done all they could. But if we want to ask some questions, we need to go back to the drawing board and say, what went wrong? Where are they coming from? You see, when we said, or when the previous administration said they decimated Boko Haram, they've destroyed Boko Haram, and they granted open heaven, personally, I'm going to hold the previous administration accountable for what's happening presently, even though this present administration needs to also do the right thing and also ensure they follow these guys with speed and momentum, decimate them by day, noon, and night. Why would you grant Operation Safe Corridor, or why would you have an Operation Safe Corridor on this hand, where you pardon repentant terrorists, and on this other hand, some other criminal elements are terrorizing the Nigerian people? Do we have the database to follow up these guys that are being pardoned? Where are they? Are you putting them in track? For example, maybe if you're in an advanced world where you commit crime and you're being granted or you're being pardoned, there's going to be a searchlight on you. Every move, every step you take, these guys are going to follow you up and know what you're doing. Now, these guys have been pardoned in the Northeast that claim that they are repentant militants. Where are they? Can we have their database? Can we have their faces? Or if we can't have their faces, do we have the security agent following them day and night to find out where they are truly? I strongly believe, from the depth of my heart, that most of these guys who claim they're repentant militants, running away from the firepower of our brave military, some of them have taken on the side of banditry. You know, banditry now is being commercialized. You know, you adopt Nigerians and you request for money, and the government tends to succumb and pay this ransom, and that is what's giving them strength. Right. And I tell you, we are sitting on a time bomb. Each time you pay these terrorist guys because they use this money to get more equipment to engage the Nigerian state and achieve their objective. Some weeks ago, last week, I tell you, Afghanistan announced that their country is a safe haven for terrorists. Anyone that wants to come and train should come and train. Anyone that wants to come and take refuge or run or hide from their prosecutors, they are free to come to Afghanistan. And I sent a letter out there and I said, hey, this is time for our migration service to start watching out the movement of some criminal elements or those who are migrating or immigrating into Nigeria to ensure that we don't have people leave Nigeria and go to Afghanistan, get trained and come back and put the Nigerian state in a state of mess. So we really have a lot to do, and it's very, very achievable. I will tell you the truth, that security is achievable if we have all components in place. The security measures, the technological measures. I will advise the Katsina governor, a very great guy who's been doing so well, to start looking at technological application. There are some equipment, airborne, it can get from 1 or 2 countries, I don't want to mention here, that it can fly it up and have a command control center whereby this equipment will pick terrorism movement and send a signal to the command control center. Then this command control center will dispatch troops that will go and lay siege or ambush to these criminal elements in any community and decimate them and take them out without, without suffering or casualty. Security is achievable, and I will tell that to the Nigerian state.
Absolutely. And speaking about, having to hear bad news, often, every now and then, the Northwest governors from Nigeria, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, held its inaugural Peace and Summit, attended by governors within the region, as well as the vice president who represented the president. So do you find, it's cheering that this might ultimately put an end to the insecurity we are recording in Katsina, Kaduna, Zamfara, and some of those states within the northern region, in most parts of the northern region?
I think that's a waste of time. It's a storytelling engagement. We're in a serious situation. We're not expecting terrorism attack. We're not expecting a banditry attack. We are in a big mess in this country, and holding talks with 1 or 2 countries or having conferences or whatever. No. The problem is systemic, and it is a localized problem. It is a community problem, and it is a state problem, and it is also a political issues. You see, one of the major problems we have here is deterrence, my brother, because I tell you, if we have an effective deterrence measures in place that will go after these criminal elements, whoever commits a crime within the Nigerian space is being punished, dealt with, let them be used as a scapegoat.
But Dixon, sorry to butt in. We've been talking about, the need for regional collaboration for cooperation for security of lives and livelihoods. If you look at the states involved, we have Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Jigawa, Sokoto, and Zamfara. These are states that are most affected by, banditry, terrorism, communal conflicts, and all of that. Do you not imagine that this summit might engender and foster peace and security of lives and livelihood within that region? Do you not feel, because this is what we often call for?
That's what I'm saying. I disagree. That's my own personal opinion. For the fact that you have been 5, 6, or 7 states trying to come together, synergize, it's not going to foster peace. We're talking about threat here. We're in a threat situation. Nigeria is in a state of threats. You understand? We are talking about how do
so what should they do then? Should they sit back and watch unconcerned? Because, this has been going on end.
Okay, that's why I tell you that if we don't have all the application in place to take out this criminal element, we'll keep having meetings, we'll keep having regional talk, we'll keep having conferences, we'll keep having what you just talked about. You see, when you have all these things in place, which are good way to discuss security issues, then how do you take out those sponsorship? We need to start looking at who are the sponsors of these criminals. We need to look at where they're coming from. We need to start looking at, you see, one thing we have in this country, one of our major issues is that we've been talking for so long, and we've kept on talking. I agree that they are going to have 1 or 2 meetings, but what's going to be what are they going to achieve from that meeting? Are they going to tell themselves the truth? Are they going to tell themselves, hey, who are sponsoring these guys? They know who are doing this nonsense. A lot of people know who are these people. Have they been able to come to the government and say, hey, this is one of the people we know that are doing this thing? Now, if this name comes to the government, what will the government do about the list of these people that are sponsoring this criminal element? If they don't, fetch out most of these sponsors of criminals, everything they're going to discuss in that meeting is going to be a waste of time. And that is the truth I'm telling you here. It's going to be a waste of time. Do you know how many meetings, how many conferences locally and internationally that has been carried out within the northern region, both in Abuja and other parts of the country to take out these guys? Now, these are what we call operational discussion. But when we talk about tactical disposition, we need to start looking at tactics and methodology to wipe out these guys from our territory and, build the confidence of the Nigerian people again. It's not easy for us to be talking about this issue every day. It's disturbing. It's painful that you have friends calling you from every part of the country asking you what is happening in your country. I agree. We have a porosity. The porosity of our borders have contributed to most of these issues. And that is why the problem we have is multidimensional. And when you have a multidimensional problem, you need a multifaceted approach. Where one of these discussions could be one of the approach. Talks, let them keep talking. After talking, let them go into action and start fetching out these guys from their territorial space.
All right, so now that we're talking about action, the military tactics, some weeks ago, the military task force in Plateau assured farmers of a secured farming season. You're aware that we are facing a food crisis in the country at this time, which has, tripled down to the southwest region. How effective do you think this move will be, having the military follow farmers to their land to farm just to have access to food?
For how long will they follow the farmers? You see, terrorism is broad. This food terrorism. They also understand that the military are taking them out, and I will tell you, most times you will not see it on the media. The Nigerian military are doing so well. They have been holding these guys on, and if not for it being that is an internal engagement, I think these guys would have been history. But you don't tend to wipe them out on our people, and that's why the battle has been lingering, even though the military has also, made 1 or 2 mistakes in the area of operational deployment. Now we have soldiers in the battlefield every day chasing these criminal elements they never founded. But if they keep on following these farmers, it's not going to be good for us. And what we need to start looking at is to build the confidence of these people, because terrorism, terrorists, what they do is to, first of all, instill fear on the people. Instill fear even to the military and the people of Nigeria. Then they start pushing in their agenda. So in the area of food security, the government should start looking at agricultural development, and also ensuring that we have a lot of land in our country, in our space. A big nation and with big land mass. We need to start pushing in. And we must also be careful that these guys should not start or should not think about the area of poisoning our meal, because I've seen it happen one or two places where criminal elements, terrorists, decide to poison food produce. But God forbid that will not happen, because they might also eat it and kill themselves. But what we should be doing right now is that we should ensure that we give these farmers an effective coverage, to allow them go farm and come back home with their produce. But how long are we going to do this? If we don't take out these guys, this will take it's going to take a long time. But I strongly believe in the military. I strongly believe in our security agents. I mean, Abuja, just 3 days ago, as a criminals element, killed a brigadier general of the Nigerian army, retired. I saw this police swimming into action and taking out these guys. This is what we expect in our country. Go after this criminal with speed and momentum and take them out and bring them to justice. Then we will breathe again.
That's right. We definitely always have to, encourage our Nigerian army, the military in general, to helping us so that we can sleep with our 2 eyes closed. And this actually confirms what the president, who insisted that his administration is yielding positive gains against the insurgency and banditry and terrorism that we've been experiencing over the years. From Abuja, a security expert, Dixon Osaje, thank you so much for your keenness of insight on the program this morning.